Hello. This week's on the 80s Twilight Zone is Need to Know and Red Snow. And we start with Need to Know, which is, I think, at least partially one of the scarier episodes in this entire series. That one and Wordplay, at least to me. It stars William Peterson, who was in CSI, Crime Scene Investigators, right? It's one of those TV shows. There's so many of them. And Frances McDormand, who we have seen in Fargo and the Three Billboards. And the premise of this is very strange and I love it. And it sets up this idea of the radio very early on, that there's only one radio station and you hear it playing in like several scenes in the background. It's a thing. It happens. And of course, that's the conclusion to the episode as well. It has probably the weakest blow that we've seen, because these aren't stunt people. It's just someone trying to time a mark of, you have to be here, you have to jut your head out. Then the blow comes in with a bottle made out of sugar and stunt glass, and knocks him out. It doesn't look good, but that's what you have. And it illustrates, in the very last scene, it illustrates the idea of single and multiple vector transmission. So he was sort of banking on this was the way the disease was going to move, or the secret was going to move. And of course, he is right. She would have been infected by the radio if she hadn't been already, but she had been already. And he discounted that possibility, and that's his downfall. And that's why he ends up the way he did. It's a very scary episode because of the idea of something like this. It's a bit like The Mouth of Madness, the John Carpenter movie, where insanity spreads through a book. Then we get to Red Snow, which is a far more expensive piece to make. It has lots more people and the sets and all this stuff. And it starts in the backlot with fake snow that they made to make it look like Russia. And they've also toned down the colors and light in several of the scenes, so it looks more sort of cold and wintry and stuff. Now, George Dzunza, I think I'm pronouncing that at least not super badly, who plays Ilinov. He also played Chief of Boat in Crimson Tide, so he has a career, but that's where I recognize him from anyway. And you set him up as a compassionate person very early on by having him mail a letter, right? That's an important character beat for him, that he actually puts the letter in the mailbox. They mentioned that they don't see any sun from August to April. Now, that is entirely possible, and that would make them very, very far north. Normally, the midnight sun, I mean, it all depends on how above the Arctic Circle you are. If you're at the Arctic Circle, you get like a day. But then refraction will still have sunlight around the horizon, even though the sun doesn't actually rise above it. It's only very, very, very far north that you have many, many days. There's a shit movie about that too, called 30 Days of Night or something like that, which touches on the same theme, but not in any way near as well. You have this howling in the distance of these wolves, and these are added in post-production, so people don't react to them at all. They don't even raise an eyebrow until it is called for by the plot, like, it's getting closer. I understand that the setup is necessary, but I think they could have done it better. Then we have Victoria Tennant, who shows up as a vampire, and I've seen her in All of Me with Steve Martin many, many years ago. And I don't think I've seen her in very much since. But she has had a long career as well. She's still acting and doing stuff. The church shot, that's not a church. That's a matte painting. They only have sort of the front wall, and then they've added sort of the skyline and the little onion and the cross and the steeple and stuff. Another very weak blow here. He isn't hit, obviously, and he can't time this well. He's not a stunt player, so he does his best, but it catches me. Then they run through this wonderfully painted winter forest. So this is on a soundstage. They have built a forest and then they've gone in and sprayed everything white and then put snow and ice on stuff. And it looks really, really nice. They've put a lot of effort into it. A real forest wouldn't look like this. And also, as they're moving, a lot of snow would fall down and stuff. And they don't have that. But it does look like a snowy forest if you pay attention. And then you have these dogs that are so happy because they have one dog that leaps at a camera, of course. Well, that I guess. But when they're wrestling, they have another dog. I'm not sure if it's a retriever, but it looks very happy to be here. And it's just wrestling, and then they put in the post-production sound to make it sound a little scary, but it's just a dog wrestling around with a stunt player. The idea of having him infected like this and turn up back in Moscow to infiltrate the party and destroy it from within, as interesting as an idea that is, the impracticality of having an agent that can only be active during the night is just mind-boggling. That would not be effective at all. In the World of Darkness, the vampire game setting from White Wolf from back in the late 90s, they address this problem, especially for one of the communities of vampires, I guess, called the Sabbat, which uses families of bloodline ghouls. It gets complicated, called revenants, especially one called the Santosa, because they can change their appearance. So what happens is that I, as a vampire, will act during the night and scare the living shit out of people, and then during the day, a Santosa that looks like me will attend political functions and whatever, and just tell me at night what he did, so that I can take over and do the stuff that I'm supposed to do. So that happens. They don't address this in the episode, and I think that's a flaw. Next week is Take My Life, Please, The Devil's Alphabet, and The Library. And I look forward to seeing you then. Take care now.